Dear honourable members, I am particularly happy to present to you here in the European Parliament the agenda as adopted by the Commission just 3 minutes ago. It couldn't be fresher. The European citizens expect from us, from all of us, that we work together in a coordinated way in order to ensure their security and protect their rights and freedom. They expect from us that we trust each other, share information and effectively work together to coordinate concrete actions and operations. Because new and complex security threats have emerged that are increasingly cross-border and cross-sectorial in nature, we cannot but face them together. This is the meaning of the shared agenda that we put into your and Member States' consideration. It's a common agenda based on principles and priorities on which we should all Parliament, Member States, the Commission and its agencies play our role in ensuring our citizens' security. That is why we are asking you to evaluate and endorse this agenda. We will have the opportunity of debating and working together on each specific element of this agenda in the next 5 years, but today I think it is important to agree on a common European agenda on security in order to meet citizens' expectations. The agenda sets out 5 key principles that should guide EU action on security. First, full compliance with fundamental rights. 2, transparency, accountability and democratic control for citizens' confidence. The European Parliament plays a key role on this. 3, better application and implementation of existing instruments, as this House has as well requested many times, before assessing whether additional EU tools are necessary, in full compliance with the principles of necessity and proportionality. 4, full use of EU agencies and all EU policies that contribute directly or indirectly to security. 5, to bring together all internal and external dimensions of security with a targeted coordination of our internal and foreign policies. For instance, we will present a consistent EU approach for all future PNR requests from third countries. The agenda sets out concrete actions to turn these key principles into a political reality. For example, in December last year, this House has adopted a resolution on what it considers being the necessary elements of an EU strategy on internal security, and you made clear that the utmost priority was to use better the existing instruments, both at legislative and operational level. We have listened very carefully and put this principle in action in this agenda. Look, for example, to our proposal for enhancing the existing capacities of Europol. It is not a question to create new information networks, but to make sure that all information already available in the Member States is also put at disposal of Europol under its strict framework for data protection. The Centre would therefore assemble in one single structure the functions already existing in the Agency on terrorist financing, illicit trafficking of firearms and foreign terrorist fighters, as well as on detection of violent extremist content online. Eurojust will also be associated to the Centre. This new capacity will support more effectively the action of Member States in their investigations and prosecutions of terrorist cases. This is our main goal: to make sure that the agency is able to fully implement its mandate. Let me now present the three main priorities we will address in the next 5 years. First, tackling terrorism. As you will see, we won't only work on repressive measures, but we will also focus on prevention. Social cohesion policy, education, employment, justice, but also the cooperation with key third countries are crucial for the EU response to address the root causes of extremism and radicalisation. The Commission will set up a Centre of Excellence to collect and disseminate expertise on anti-radicalisation, building upon the Radicalisation Awareness Network. This will strengthen the exchange of experience among practitioners directly engaged in preventing radicalisation and violent extremism at local level. We plan to update the framework decision on terrorism to provide a more coherent legal framework to deal with the foreign fighters phenomenon. This will allow for intensified cooperation with third countries on this issue. We will also launch an EU forum with major IT companies to counter terrorist propaganda on the Internet and in social media. Second, disrupting organised crime. We go through various forms of organised crime linked by one principle: cutting the financing of criminals. The cooperation between competent authorities in Europe, in particular national financial intelligence units, which will be connected to Europol, will be strengthened, while we will assess the necessity of new legislation to counter terrorist financing and improve confiscations of properties derived from criminal activities. We plan to strengthen the legal framework on firearms to address the illegal trafficking and reactivation of weapons, to establish common standards, share more information and boost cooperation with third countries. And I cannot today not to mention our priority to fight the organised criminals exploiting the need of some people for protection and better life perspectives. In other words, smugglers and traffickers. Third, fighting cybercrime. One of our priorities is to assess whether the current tools for the law enforcement authorities are sufficient to address online investigations, notably on issues of competent jurisdiction and rules on access to Internet-based evidence and information. These three areas are interlinked and have a strong cross-border crime. It is exactly here where the European Union and its actions can make a real difference for ensuring security. The agenda also proposes steps to strengthen the pillars of EU action on internal security: better information exchange, increased operational cooperation, more targeted support through training, funding, research and innovation. It is through these actions that the European Union gives added value to the work of Member States. These three pillars are the ones based on which this agenda can evolve in the course of 5 years to adapt to new threats and challenges. Dear honourable Members, this was just a brief presentation of the European Agenda on Security, adopted, as I said at the beginning, by the Commission today. I want to stress, to underscore again, this agenda is not just the response to the recent tragic events. This agenda has been a priority for President Juncker and this Commission and defines the Union's approach to internal security that is based on our common values, including the rule of law and fundamental rights. It also has to be seen in conjunction with the future agenda on migration, which will further develop issues of border management and smuggling of migrants. I look forward to a deep and, as always, sincere cooperation with you in order very soon to be in a position to deliver what we have assumed as a responsibility in the eyes of the European public opinion and the European citizens, to guarantee the safety and the security of them. Thank you very much for your attention.